That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
It's crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
Welcome back, campers, to episode 7 of Camp Strange. This is your camp counselor, Alex Tobin. I almost forgot my last name.
And this is your other camp counselor, David
Stokes.
Tobin? No.
Stokes.
Stokes.
And like we said, we're here back with episode 7, and I have to get this off my chest first and foremost. Is that, as you know, here at Camp Strange, we're not scholars. We don't claim to be anything we're not. And apparently, people have been telling me I mispronounced a couple words in the past few podcasts. One was for our twins episode. I said Bajan Creole, and it's apparently Bayesian Creole.
Okay.
So I didn't know that at all. And the other one was I did this one a lot. This was bad actually. I kept saying papacy and papal.
Okay.
And it's papacy and papal.
Papacy. Okay.
And papal. So that's like having to do with the Pope.
Yeah.
And 2 people told me that. I was like, my God, damn it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, for the people who recognize it, I get that it probably gets on your nerves. I apologize for that. So I'm just sorry I'm so stupid.
Yeah, we're a bunch of fucking idiots.
I'm so stupid.
But yeah, no, I'm sure, especially on that the one I did about the missing boat with all the Hawaiian names and stuff. I'm sure I butchered all of those, and it's gonna happen.
Well, you're gonna butcher names. I mean,
yeah.
but no one's gonna correct you on the names. But like papacy is apparently a big common talked about word that I'd never talked about before.
A lot of people talking about that apparently.
Papacy, yeah. So don't eat a papal, eat a papal.
I don't even know which one's
pear
which.
apple.
Pear and apple.
Anyway, it's October, guys.
Ooh, let's get spooky.
Yeah, so it's the spookiest month of the year. Halloween is on the horizon. I think this is my favorite month of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. It was, especially my favorite before I moved to Los Angeles because the fall in the Northwest is
we don't get
gorgeous,
a lot of
but
fall here.
Here it's like you don't even know what season it is, which kind of sucks. But
still pretty hot right now, honestly.
I'm currently sweating,
but I'm excited for a little bit of overcastness. I'm really excited for everything spooky. Oh, we should mention. I mean, we posted this on the Instagram a while ago, but me and David and I bought tickets to the Queen Mary. Did we already talk about this?
I don't think so.
Oh, we got tickets to the Queen Mary. What is it? Haunted?
I'm still trying to figure out what exactly it is.
Horror.
You FaceTimed me.
I was at Costco.
Tobin does this thing where he doesn't call people. He just FaceTimes them, which is incredibly awkward at times, like when you're at work and I can't talk at the moment. So he was like, oh, look at this thing I found. Should I buy it? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm at work.
I like a face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I was at Costco, and if you saw the picture, I feel like it was a better selling point than just telling you on the phone. So I went for the FaceTime. And
you could have just taken a picture and texted it to me.
No,
I guess time was a a factor.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there all day in Costco, even though I could.
Most people do.
Yeah, it's great. But so it's the Queen Mary, which is a haunted shipping vessel, which actually will tie into what I'm going to talk about today as far as vessels go. But you go there, it's in the Long Beach Harbor, and you could go there, and they have scary mazes and live music and apparently hidden bars.
Yeah, the 3 hidden bars is what's got me very intrigued.
I bet it does, you alcoholic. Like, here's a hidden bar. You get into a van and they drive you to AA. A rehab place. Like, the hidden bar's in there somewhere.
You think it's an escape room the whole time?
So, and then they have, it said, they have alternative routes out of the mazes or something. There's a lot we don't know about this place, but it's, written on the ticket. It said, alternative routes. And
I feel like the less I know, the better, and the better chance I get arrested.
What? You're gonna get arrested.
I don't know. If there's alternate routes, I'm gonna try everything I see.
Alternate endings, I guess you could say, to the mazes.
Oh, endings.
Like, yeah, route.
Okay. I thought you meant like secret ways to get out, and I was like, I'm gonna be breaking down walls and climbing through ceiling vents.
I can just see you like right now, all of a sudden, like kicking in the door to like where the actors or like the people who dress up like the monsters are like sitting like drinking coffee in between their shifts. And like, is there a bar in here?
It's like a coffee bar.
There's a guy taking a shit. You kick him in the door. Is there a bar in here? And the guy's like, actually, yes. And he pulls out a tequila from his legs.
Yeah. I mean, I think like if you're working in that, yeah.
Would you take that shot?
I probably wouldn't. A nice an ankle toilet shot. I think I'd pass on that
when
one.
I say between his legs, he's reaching into the toilet between his legs, pulling out the shot, not by his feet.
Oh, okay. So a toilet shot.
Yeah.
I mean, when you put it that way, maybe.
Now you would take the shot for sure.
The ground's disgusting, but the water's filtered in every time you flush it, so that's safe.
With the guy sitting in it,
Yeah.
So we're excited for that. That should be fun. But the tickets, you could go anytime in like October. So we don't know what day we're going yet. But
is it a one-day thing? That's what I was confused by.
It's a one-day thing.
Okay, well, because there's so many events on it. I wasn't sure if it's
so
like
many dates. You mean?
Well, a lot of dates, but also like things on it, like 3 bars and like 10 mazes or something like that. I was confused if it's like a whole month thing where you like can just keep doing it different nights.
Oh no, you go one night.
Okay.
At Costco, it was like $80 for 2 tickets, and that ticket also comes with like the front of the line pass. So if you go to Costco, I say get it because it seems like a good deal. And we're
gonna have to sedate Riley to get her in there.
That's your girlfriend?
Yeah, my girlfriend. She doesn't do horror very well, and she's like terrified to go, and she doesn't want to do it. But I'm gonna force her.
My girlfriend Katie went to Halloween Horror Nights, and she's like, I don't want to do it, and of course she did it for me because she cares so much. And she had really bad allergies that night, but after she got over the allergies, she had a great time. She's like, I didn't really like the first couple of mazes, but then like you kind of get used to it, and she's like, I really liked it. She had a great time. So
yeah.
But anyway, I think we're all caught up at this point, you know?
Yeah, we don't have too much to update about. You know, the merch store is still going strong. Check it out. Some good stuff on there. I finally got my shirts in the mail. Looks great. Got the coffee mug, drinking out of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah. It
did look nice. You put a beer inside the coffee mug, right? You put a koozie inside the coffee mug, and then...
I mean, I got home from work the other night pretty late, and I didn't want coffee, but I really wanted to drink out of the mug, and I already had a beer open, so... The beer in the koozie slid right into the coffee mug, so it's multi-purpose. You don't have to drink coffee out of it, guys.
Stuff called tea that you usually drink at night.
It's
fair.
What do you expect?
I liked it. I liked the look of it. It looked good with the koozie. The beer fit nice in it. So.
Yeah.
Now we just got to make koozies now.
Yep.
But
still wanting the koozies.
But anyway, we should probably get into these stories that are burning a hole in my pocket.
Oh, you wanna lead off?
Yeah, I mean,
as always.
Well, yeah. What do you expect? Of course I do.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's get started.
I was more curious if you actually showed up with a story today.
What the fuck are you trying to say?
Because you've made up like 2 of them, right?
Well, yeah, that has nothing to do with anything.
They weren't real?
I'm a great storyteller.
Just kidding.
All of mine are thoroughly researched.
Very researched.
How dare you say that shit about me on recording? I'll fight you.
I mean, if you want, but you should start your story before you get embarrassed over audio.
Okay. Here we go, guys. Let's get into this. So, in 1845, a man by the name of Sir John Franklin led 2 ships, the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, from England to the northern Arctic of Canada in order to find the long-sought-after Northern Passage.
I feel like naming a boat Terror is never a great idea.
Yeah, and exactly. That was the precursor to all of this. And I know your first question is, what's an HMS? The HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror. What's an HMS? Do you know what it means?
Isn't it that shitty clothing store that none like the clothes fit me?
That's H&M.
Oh.
HMS is Her or His Majesty's ship.
Okay.
So it's basically
Royal.
The equivalent of a USS, the United States ship.
Okay.
So it was an English ship, state of the art.
Oh, so it's just like a military warship, kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't a warship though. It was a expedition ship.
Okay, I was thinking like it's like strictly for like the it wouldn't be presidential, but like strictly for just the king and queen to.
Oh no! It wasn't.
So it's not like
It's not
Air Force
One.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a ship that belongs to England, so they throw that little moniker on there.
Okay.
You know. And the second question you might have is, what is the Northwest Passage? And the Northwest Passage was a supposed trade route that allowed you to safely travel from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean without having to navigate the treacherous waters around Cape Horn of South America or Cape Agulhas of South Africa.
Yeah.
Because, as we all know, those are like really, really treacherous waters and stuff, and a lot of ships crash and stuff. So they're basically trying to find another route through the northern part of Canada where it's called an archipelago.
Archipelago.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of little islands and icebergs and stuff like that, and they thought that maybe they could travel through that. And
That sounds sketchy.
I mean, it's I don't know at this point, would you rather just take around the Horn? But it was kind of like a pride thing too. Like whoever found it first was like, "Hey, we found a new route," and
we didn't die, or did they?
Exactly. So John Franklin was doing this to bring pride to Oh my God, he's going to bring pride to Franklin. He's going to bring pride to England as well as boost his own reputation. So he was bringing pride to Franklin as well,
big time.
Family
pride,
because he was an explorer himself, and he had been on like 2 other ships, basically. I mean, 3 other ships.
What a player. Yeah, I've been on a couple ships before. Not a big deal or anything.
Not just like
I know I'm your captain, but...
I meant he'd taken some Arctic expeditions 3 other times, and 2 of the times he was a commanding officer. So it was kind of like, hey, let's get back out there and do the only thing I've ever known.
Yeah.
But as many people know today, the passage actually now can be traversed due to global warming. And
it's a hoax.
Basically, the route is if you travel up the west side of Greenland, hang a left over the Baffin Islands, and then you travel along the north part of Canada and squeeze in between the 55-mile wide gap between Alaska and Russia, known as the Bering Strait.
So it's hang a left and squeeze. Are those nautical terms?
They are 100% nautical terms.
Okay, Captain.
You hang a Louis,
yeah,
and you hang
a Ricky.
Is that what you call right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so no, they are not, technical terms, but it's how most people would look at a map. Okay.
Okay.
Asshole. So, like I said, Franklin had served on 3 other Arctic explorations, 2 as commanding officer, but he wanted to go on a 4th at the ripe old age of 59.
Okay.
So he was pretty old at this point.
10 years too soon. I
mean, not saying anyone who's 59 is like, you're really old, but...
But this is also, what year is this? You said it was like 1840s?
It's 1845.
Yeah, so, 59 and 1845, I feel like that's...
He's 150 years old.
In our time now.
In dog years.
Yeah, in dog... In 2018 years, he's 300 years old.
Nautical years.
In nautical years, he's 100 leagues under the sea.
Yeah. Maybe he'll end up 100 leagues under the sea. Who knows?
I bet he can hold his breath really good.
He could hold more than breath.
Oh. Is that a sexual joke?
No.
Not sure where you're going with that.
Take that and run with it.
I don't like that.
So, Franklin took his 2 state-of-the-art, unstoppable, quote-unquote, we all know how that goes, vessels, the Erebus and the Terror, which Terror sounds good if you're like a warship, not if you're an exploration ship. It just kind of means only bad things can happen.
Their goal was to kill as many wildlife as much as possible.
No, they weren't.
As many polar bears as they could run over.
They're not doing that. But they set sail... They set sail from England, like I said, to hopefully traverse the frozen maze and come out the other side. To be fair, the ship seemed sound, and the ship had a 3-year supply of canned and preserved food, along with a state-of-the-art filtration system that could filter seawater and turn it into drinking water. So,
that's cool.
It seemed like they went in with like pretty good.
It doesn't sound too bad.
Resources,
I'd trust it.
And although they took the proper steps to come prepared, many believed that the things they brought in order to save them may have just been their demise.
Uh-oh.
So after sailing across the Atlantic, they stopped on the western side of Greenland, where they restocked the ship with fresh meat and sent off letters to be delivered home. They apparently killed like 10 oxen off the coast of Greenland so they could have like some fresh meat and whatnot.
Yeah, reasonable.
I don't know.
That's a small footprint.
Yeah, I just don't know where they got all the 10 oxen. And I don't, because I've seen pictures of Greenland and it doesn't look like anybody lives there. So
And it ain't that green.
especially in 1845, it's probably just like one guy who's like,
Maybe oxen ran like wild out there.
they like the ship pulls up to this guy who just has like a house and 10 oxen, and he's like, they're like, hello, and he's like, hello, I can offer you 1 oxen for some clean drinking water. They're like, we're gonna take 10 oxen and kill you, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh, just take the oxen, I'll be okay.
Oh yeah.
So they I'm not saying that they killed a guy and took his oxen. I'm saying they had some oxen there.
But they did. I'm not gonna say it, but they did.
And they also, like I said, they wrote letters, and this was the last time that the letters could be sent. This is like the last time they're on civilization land.
Yeah.
So they wrote letters back home, and apparently a lot of the sailors were complaining about the fact that Franklin, the captain, had banned swearing and drunkenness.
Isn't that the point of being a sailor?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what kind of asshole this guy is, but like, these guys are just like, man, this is gonna suck. But hey, at least we could get really drunk and swear.
Yeah, we can swear at each other about each other's parents, and we can drink.
Oh, my wife, I tell you, I got on this ship because I had such a bad headache. I like how none of that had swearing in it.
Yeah,
So that's proper griping about your wife on that ship.
yeah.
Take a note.
That's how it's almost more miserable than being with his wife.
Sounds like it. Anyway, after
His made up wife that we're making up, the
Yeah.
terrible marriage that
he's like,
probably wasn't true.
oh, I'd rather you steal 10 of my oxen, I swear. So by early 1846, they were about halfway through the icy archipelago when they decided to stop at Beachy Island to hold out for the winter.
Beachy?
Beachy, and
Creative.
by no means was this island very beach-like.
Yeah.
So it's spelled wrong anyway. It's Beechey.
Oh, so,
So
okay.
maybe named after somebody. But they pulled on the island to hold out for the winter because it was a pretty grueling winter up there, as they say, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And we've all been up there.
Yeah, we all know.
And while actually on the island to hold out for the winter, 3 of the sailors, John Hartnell, John Torrington, and William Brain, died and were buried with wooden tombstones to mark their graves. These were the first men to die.
Did it say how they died? They just died.
No, I'll get into that in
Okay.
a second. But these were the first men to die on the expedition. A couple of the men actually were getting sick, so they hopped off at Greenland, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna head back home." So
This place is pretty nice. I think I'm just gonna stay.
he's like, "We'll trade you 10 sailors for 10 oxen." He's like, "Deal." So they hopped off, but these guys obviously did not make it, and many would have believed that the men died due to the cold, lack of food, or the harsh waters. But when researchers dug up the bodies 138 years later, they found out that not only were the bodies well preserved due to the tundra's permafrost,
Oh, yeah.
but that the bones and the tissues could be tested to figure out the cause of death. And what they found was very interesting.
Okay.
So originally the researchers thought the men died due to pneumonia caused by tuberculosis, but after testing the samples, they also found extremely high levels of lead in the tissue and bone of all 3 men, about 100 times more than the acceptable amount.
So like lead poisoning.
It seemed like it.
They were
I mean,
eating pencils.
Yeah, no, that's graphite now.
Well, back then it was lead, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
10
they got
oxen
hungry,
for
so they
how
started
many
eating
pencils?
pencils.
But no, they so
Some what is it? Tamagotchi number 2.
what are you talking about?
Classic pencils.
Oh, is that how you reset them? You mean?
No. The classic schoolyard pencil. It's like the
Is it? It's called a Ticonderoga.
Ticonderoga.
Oh my god.
I was always a pen guy. I don't make mistakes.
Tamagotchi. Fuck, man. But like I said, they had extremely high levels of lead in their body, and now it's not confirmed that the lead was the only cause of death, but it was a factor in the death. The lead and scurvy combo that many believe that they had was most likely, the death certificate. and it would be fatal enough for most people.
Okay.
But it was just really interesting. They're like, how did these guys get lead poisoning, you know? And we'll get into that.
All right.
But like I said, everybody was questioning how these guys got such severe lead poisoning. But the answer comes from the preparation for the journey. Like I said, the stuff that maybe they thought would save them was actually their demise. This is where it comes into play.
Okay.
Like I said, the ship had a 3-year supply of canned food, but apparently the company in charge of processing and canning the food for the expedition was hired at the last minute, making the processing and canning rushed. And we all know what happens when you rush canning, right?
You start stuffing pencils in the canned food.
Yeah, the guy's like, are these beans or pencils? And
Eat it.
It was pencils.
It was pencils.
No. So, like I said, the cans themselves were horribly put together to the point where they had large globs of lead soldering on them, and I guess the soldering is what holds the cans together and it seals the cans and whatnot.
Yeah.
So when they found these cans left over on the beach, they had these like large globs of lead, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's not good." And also, they believe that in the factory they didn't heat the cans properly to,
Preserve the food, like have the suction in it and stuff.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
So apparently, like a lot of people were getting sick, and they thought like, "Oh shit, there's botulism in the cans too."
Okay.
So they brought this like a bunch of cans of pencils and botulism.
God, you think you would have fucking like before setting sail for this huge adventure? You think you'd at least like, look over the food real quick to make sure that everything looks good?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think you can really tell from like. I think they're like, "Oh, this is like a shitty canning job," but like. Are they sealed? That's good enough. And the botulism you could tell because the can starts to bloat outward.
Okay.
But it also doesn't like come into play until probably it's too late, So they probably tossed some cans being like, oh, but I don't even know if they knew what botulism was at that point.
Yeah.
Did they? I don't know.
Gotta go fishing with all his food. You just throw it in the ocean, a bunch of dead fish will pop up, and then you
eat them and get botulism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the cycle of life. Ugh, love it.
So many believe that the lead in the food was not enough to actually cause the lead poisoning, but the problem was it was also in the water.
Delicious.
Yeah. So like I said, they had a new state-of-the-art filtration system, and that apparently had a massive lead problem as well.
Perfect.
The pipes themselves were made out of lead, which was nothing new for water pipes. But apparently lead seeps into water much easier when the water is, 1, newly filtered and soft, 2, if the pipes are new, and 3, if the water is heated, which
that makes
all
sense.
of them...
Just going through all that.
Exactly. So it was basically like a perfect storm for lead poisoning.
Yeah.
So,
and let me guess, were the walls painted with lead-based paints?
I think they were wood.
Oh,
I don't think they wasted any paint on the inside of the ship.
You can still paint wood.
Salt water is known to peel paint.
I was just wondering if we got more lead in this equation.
Maybe.
I'm not ruling it out yet.
I wasn't there, but
I thought this was a first-hand experience.
No, I'm making this one up too.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good.
So the effect that lead has on the brain is substantial enough to apparently lower IQ and create difficulty learning and problem solving, which may have caused them to get into the problem they are going to end up encountering.
I feel like I've had lead poisoning the last 28 years of my life based on your description.
I feel like you continue to have lead poisoning every year as your life progresses.
It's a very faint amount of lead poisoning, so it's not lethal, but God, I can't learn anything.
But God, are you stupid.
Dumb as a bag of bricks.
Dumb as a bag of fucking pencils, I tell you. Some Tamagotchi pencils. So, when summer rolled around in 1846, the ship left Beechy Island and sailed south to King William Island. And the Terror and Erebus became trapped in the ice off King William Island in September of 1846 and are believed to have never sailed again. So
they're stuck at King Willie Isles.
They left her in the summer, a couple months going through these archipelagos. They eventually just... I've seen this. I've heard this happen before. This happens in like the Antarctica and stuff like that, where they start breaching through the ice, and then all of a sudden they reach a part where they can't get through anymore,
And it freezes around.
and then exactly,
Yeah.
the broken part behind them, they can't turn around, so it freezes the boat in. So that's what happened to these two boats.
Hey, it's better than sinking.
Let's get to it. So, like I said, the HMS Terror and the HMS Erebus became trapped in the ice off King William Island in September of 1846. And according to a note dated the April 25th, 1848, which tells you something right there,
Yeah.
that they were alive on this off this like beach for like or off this King William Island for 2 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
So there's a note dated April 25th, left on the island by Fitzjames and Crozier, two of the sailors, that said that Franklin had died on June 11th, 1847. So he died. Franklin, the captain, died about a year after they got stuck there.
Yeah.
And they said that he died of natural causes. But, I mean, knowing the conditions and how much lead they were chugging at this point, like, is as natural as a,
I think they said natural causes just so then they could justify eating him.
Let's get to that, too.
Oh, fuck.
So they said he died, and the crew had wintered on King William Island from 46 to 48. So they were living in the ship. They were building like kind of igloos and stuff right off the ship. But
So they were on the ice a little bit?
They were on the ice a little
Okay.
bit, but the ship was like frozen in, and they're like, we cannot move this. It's almost like they were waiting for a death sentence. It was such
Yeah.
a shitty situation. I mean, especially in 1846 where, what, are you sending a raven or something? Like,
Yeah.
where's your communication? If they send a search party, they're probably going to find a bunch of dead peoples at that point.
Yeah.
So what they plan to do, the remaining crew of 105 men, they planned to begin a walk on April 26, 1848, toward the Back River on the Canadian mainland, which was over 1,000 miles away.
Shit.
So they're like, we have to hike 1,000 miles, which I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
Especially in like the frozen tundra. And
Yeah.
I mean, how long does it take to like, it's an archipelago area, so it's like you walk and then all of a sudden you reach a part where you're like, oh, there's ocean in between us and that piece of land over there. Like, do we swim and all get, frostbite and hypothermia?
Yeah.
Like, it only takes one of those. So the remaining crew had planned to begin walking on April 26, 1848, towards the Back River on the Canadian mainland. And 9 officers and 15 men had already died just waiting there with the boat.
Yeah.
But the rest of the 105 men would unfortunately end up dying along the way. I mean, that's no spoiler. 1,000 miles is not good.
Yeah.
But they ended up dying along the way to the Back River, most on the island, and another 30 or 40 on the northern coast of the mainland. So some did get pretty far.
It's impressive.
But it was still hundreds of miles from the nearest outpost of Western civilization. But
It'd be crazy just finding a bunch of dead bodies from a 1,000-mile stretch, just like every couple hundred.
it's like the worst trail of breadcrumbs you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And apparently the strangest thing about the found ships and the bodies was that there was actually drinking water and food left on the boat, while the men who had begun their 1,000-mile trek to civilization brought with them plates, curtain rods, and a writing desk.
Yeah, you got to bring that desk.
I don't know. I think that's the biggest mystery of why they were bringing these things, and a lot of people point to the lead point. There's a lot of mystery and like
That's just like the madness of the lead.
well, they think that.
Well, maybe they're gonna make a little boat out of the desk.
Are you serious?
I don't know. How big is this desk we're talking?
I mean, if Jack couldn't fit on the door, what makes you think that 105 men could fit on a desk?
Well, you can at least get one on the desk and ship them off.
Well, I bet that one guy's like, I'm not sharing my desk with anybody right now.
Exactly.
They should have brought all those pencils and tied them all together and
Yeah.
made a nice little castaway raft.
Pencil raft.
Yeah. But Some, like I said, thought that the lead affecting their brains was the reason for the backwards thinking, but ultimately no one knows due to the fact that most of the letters and belongings of these men were destroyed in the harsh environment they were found in. The other things left behind were mainly bones, human skulls, and bones with cut marks in them, indicating cannibalism and a last-ditch effort to survive.
There you go.
So I mean, that's kind of, you saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ate the captain. He was already 59, not looking too hot.
Yeah, it's probably not good meat.
I think they probably just like hucked him into the water and
It's real mushy meat.
Yeah, they. It's fucking. I mean, once you eat somebody who has lead poisoning, how much worse does your lead poisoning get, or does it like cap out at a certain time?
Yeah. But
in the end, the boats were crushed by the moving ice and sank to the bottom. They're actually, no one knew where they were for, forever, and they eventually found one of the Erebus they found in 2014, and they found the Terror in 2016, and they actually had cameras go down there, and that's how they found out that like there was food left on the boat, like bottles of wine. Not that that's sustenance, but there was canned food and other stuff like that left on the boat, and they still don't know why they left it on the boat.
I thought booze wasn't allowed or swearing.
Well, I mean, it wasn't allowed, but it doesn't mean that people, like, they could have stocked up the ship. Probably different guys stocked up the ship, like, oh, they're definitely going to want this wine.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, this is my rule. I'm enlisting. Yeah. And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, man.
Okay.
So that's probably why it was still on the boat, is that no one drank it. But the boats were crushed. The men were all killed by one or many diseases, maybe lead poisoning, maybe scurvy, or Addison's disease. And the story of the Franklin expedition will forever be a mystery, lost to the winds of winter.
Ooh, I like that little ending you did there.
Well, that's one of the Game of Thrones books, but it just had a nice alliteration, so that's not what happens in Game of Thrones. It's just...
You can read?
No, I can't read.
Oh, I was going to ask you to teach me.
I memorized all this from a tape recording.
Oh.
Also, I'm making this up.
Oh, okay.
I tape recorded myself making it up. I replay it. That's how I memorize things. I feel like people are going to kind of believe I made this up to a certain extent. I did not make this up. This is all true. Google it.
It was just a big old joke.
But, yeah, in the end, I guess moral of the story is don't try to find the Northwest Passage. They actually did end up finding it, like, years later.
Yeah. Is it still like super dangerous, or you said
global warming made it so people could actually go through there easier. It's still like one of it's really harsh environment, so if you have a weekend, I say don't go up there and try to traverse it, but
not a good weekend activity.
No, we got planes now. We don't need to find the Northwest Passage.
That's true.
We got trains, planes, and automobiles.
Yeah.
So stick to those ones. Stick to what you know.
Yeah.
FedEx 2-day shipping.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not on Amazon Prime, I'm not buying it.
This podcast is brought to you by FedEx 2-day shipping, or 3 to 7 day shipping for free. Yeah. What are you in a hurry for, motherfucker?
Yeah, what's your time worth?
Yeah, so.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I am here to talk about my story, which is about Magdalena Solís. And I'm going to go ahead and just call her Maggie, because I keep butchering her name and am having an issue with it. So Maggie was also known as the High Priestess of Blood.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So we'll start off with her childhood. Maggie came from a very poor, dysfunctional family. Like, really, really, really fucking dysfunctional. Like,
how dysfunctional? Are we talking, like, trailer dysfunctional?
Worse. Like, give me, like, the worst family dysfunction you can think of.
My dad killed my mom in front of me, and then, I don't know, left me at a gas station.
Not quite. So she...
It'd be weird if it was exactly that.
That would have been strange.
I mean, there's worse stuff than that, but I don't want to talk about, like, really depressing, like,
this is worse.
Lives and
this is worse.
All that, but...
So her family was so bad and so dysfunctional that her very own brother, whose name was Eleazar...
They got some interesting names. They really, like, tried to make the kids unique, it feels like. You know?
Yeah. So Eleazar... actually ended up being her pimp and sold her as a prostitute.
Oh, no.
At a pretty young age. I didn't get an exact age.
That should have been a part of my equation for a dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Brother's a pimp and sells you out.
Yeah, so before we get into the whole blood priestess stuff, there's another family that's critical for the story, and that's the Hernandez brothers, who started a cult.
They got to start hanging out with better people.
Yeah.
I mean, their family's shitty, and they hang out with even shittier families.
Exactly. She should have just ran from the family, but unfortunately she didn't for her own sake. So in late 1962 to early 1963, the two brothers named Santos, and I'm going to probably butcher this one too, Cayanto Hernandez, traveled to a small town named Yerba Buena in Mexico.
I've heard of Yerba Buena, I feel like.
Okay.
You got a lot of hard words to say in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's in Mexico, so there's a lot of
Okay.
Hispanic names and stuff. And
Oh, maybe those are more common names than I thought then.
yeah, probably.
Okay.
So the brothers had devised a plan to scam impoverished people who were like mostly illiterate and had no education, which is, I'm imagining,
Real leadheads.
Exactly.
Wow,
I would
that's
imagine
good,
that they're pretty easy to scam. So in their scam, they would tell the villagers that they were prophets of, and in quotes, the powerful and exiled Inca gods.
Wow.
Yes. So the brothers would demand the villagers would worship them and give them tributes. And to do that in exchange for treasures that were hidden in the caves and mountains surrounding the village.
Okay, so what were the tributes that they would give them, and did they ever show them these said caves and these said treasures?
We'll get to that part. So I'm pretty sure, again, I did like a lot of research and there wasn't a whole lot of information on like the things, but I'm assuming they gave them like food and money and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
As
I didn't know
tribute.
if they were going to be like, if they were doing like the pimp thing too, where it's like, here, you could have my daughter for the cult. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing where it's like,
Not that I know of.
okay, well, I mean, at least that's good. They're only taking, candy and cash.
Well, not entirely. So many people bought into the act, and things were really good for the brothers for a while. They
As
ended up,
most cults start out as.
yes,
Right?
So they actually the home base of the cult were in the caves out in the mountains where the treasure supposedly was.
Of course.
And out there, it was alleged that they had many drug-fueled orgies, and they ended up treating the followers like they were sex slaves.
You're kind of checking off all the boxes for how a cult works right now, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So eventually, the villagers became impatient because the promised treasure wasn't really showing up. But they're like, "Where the
What?
fuck is this treasure?" I know,
Wait,
right?
That's what?
They're doing all this thing for the gods, but they don't know treasure's coming.
You give me more
Only the brothers.
candy, and I'll show you the treasure.
So once the brothers felt like the backlash kind of setting in, they decided to go see if they could find some help, and they headed to the city of Monterrey to find prostitutes to take part in the scam. So they would get
Sex sells.
well, not just that, but like they could also be paying them to reinforce like what they're saying, being like, "Oh yeah, no, it's true. Like you just have to keep being more patient." They just had more people on their side, convincing them, being like, "Oh no, all of it's true. Like the treasure's coming. You just have to keep."
But it's
giving them
also
things.
a selling point where you can distract people like from asking these questions if you're providing them with something. Because like
Oh, yeah.
the one thing they promised was, "Hey, we're gonna give you treasure," and then they're like, "The treasure's not there." We're like, "We're gonna give you sex too," and
Yeah.
like they could deliver on the sex part if they have like prostitutes or something. So
Yeah.
the guys will be like, "I guess we're gonna stop asking about the treasure. Treasure will come in time, but like the sex is here, so that's like not bad." So
Yeah.
they needed a pivot. It seemed like. you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's here where the brothers met the Solís siblings,
Okay.
and Maggie and her brother.
He was already a pimp at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I guess it was kind of a thing like, "Oh, if you want to take my girl, then I'm going to go with you. Like I want to get in on the scam." Because like the
It's gross that
prostitutes.
I know it's so gross that you're
I
saying
know.
my girl, and like I know like that's probably what he would say, and it's
Yeah.
it's his sister. I mean, any kind of prostitution is disgusting, but like come, how soulless do you have to be?
Yeah, don't keep the business in the family. It's not family
God,
business.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So they the brothers brought the two back to Yerba Buena, and that's where things would start to go a little bit downhill. So the brothers introduced Maggie as a reincarnation of an Inca goddess,
Okay.
and like introduced her to the cult with like smoke and stuff, and like made it all
Ooh.
official, and like made them all believe.
It sounds like she's kind of like not a prostitute anymore, right?
Oh, there's still a lot of banging.
Ah.
But I mean, you know, they're all hyped though, because it's like, oh, I get to bang this this goddess. So after time of playing the Inca goddess, Maggie develops a severe religious delusion, and she starts to really believe that she is a reincarnation of the Inca goddess.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome to a certain extent.
Kind of, but so she starts to legitimately think that she is a goddess.
She's like agreeing with her captors and being like, you know what, I think I am. I mean, it's kind of like when you're like a celebrity, if everybody tells you you're the shit for so long, you kind of, I feel like you start acting different, and you're like, I am the shit, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah.
It's called a god complex, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
She's also a god, so.
Yeah. And so over time with that mentality, she ends up becoming kind of like the figurehead of the whole thing. Like, the two brothers aren't really.
Wow.
And I don't think they really care that much, because it's like they're still getting benefits from it. But like,
she could turn the people on them if she wanted to.
I mean, yeah, she could. But yeah, so she starts to take over the cult a little bit. So around that time, two members started to get kind of tired of it just being like, hey, we're just having sex and there's no actual treasure. And
they caught on.
Yeah, they kind of caught on, and they tried to call it quits, which when they tried to walk away, the two were quickly apprehended by the cult and lynched by the cult members under Solis's demand.
Whoa.
So these two murders started quite the avalanche of bloodlust, and she evolved into something like way worse, realizing how much power she had that she could convince a pack of people to just like tear two people apart.
That's the scary thing. I would have been really scared if I was those twins, because like, I mean, they're probably still in her good graces, but one false step and like you have a army at your will to do your bidding.
They legitimately think that she is a god.
Wow.
Yes.
What a underdog story.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, prostitutes being prostituted out by her brother to like God, who could. I would kill the brother.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
That's like Game of Thrones right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the orgies started to stop, and instead of having orgies every night, she started to demand human sacrifices.
Whoa.
And there the blood rituals were born. So in the blood rituals, they would typically take a cult member who was trying to get out of the cult or like flee from the cult, and then that member would be brutally beaten, burned, cut, and maimed by all the other cult members.
You would think after the first two guys of trying to get out of the cult that everybody would be like, we're going to shut the fuck up about trying to leave the cult.
Yeah.
And either leave the cult and don't like complain about it, or just stay in the cult and pretend like you're happy.
Yeah. But, you know, everybody's on guard kind of, and it's like if you let someone go, then it turns out that you let them go, you'd probably get...
It's also kind of probably like the Red Scare, where certain things like, hey, I don't like, this guy's pissing me off. Like, hey, John tried to leave the cult, and then they just go and grab you. And if you're a little bit of a higher ranking member, you have more trust. You have some pull.
So bloodletting was also practiced, which, do you know what bloodletting is?
Bloodletting is when you cut yourself and you just like let yourself bleed on people or something like that.
Well, I believe the actual like just term is just like mass amount of like blood loss, like so like like you know like
it's like cleansing yourself of like.
Well, I don't think it has to be a self-inflicted thing. I think it's just like the idea of like draining the blood out of a body.
Oh, okay. Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so then as the bloodletting practice started, they would start to they would deposit the blood into a cup and mix it with chicken blood, and then they would pass it around the entire cult and for everybody to take a sip of.
It was chicken blood filler, or was there another reason for that?
I think it was more of another part of the sacrifice thing, because a lot of people sacrifice chickens for whatever poor reason.
Oh man,
with chicken, but they're typically a main target for like sacrifices.
Okay, and I have blood. It says bloodletting is the surgical removal of some of a patient's blood for therapeutic purposes. And it says, and it also says like the violent killing and wounding of people during a war or conflict, and bitter division and quarreling within an organization. So it's most likely the first one.
Yeah, but there is a chance that like people weren't dying from it, and it was more of just like we're all going to drink each other's blood.
I think it's bloodletting is like I've heard of it. People using it as like a ritual thing where like we're gonna bloodlet and like you'll give like a pint of your blood. And
Okay.
then, like and then people like you said they'll drink it.
Yeah.
They'll rub it on their body. They'll use it in rituals. So
Yeah.
it's like weird.
So there's also classic reports of good old fashioned animal sacrifices and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
'cause it's cheap.
especially with like like Mayan or these Mayan gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sacrifice was a huge part of like their
Inca.
culture. Inca, yeah, I mean maybe Incas too. I'm guessing. These they did a lot to like the sun, like during eclipses and whatnot.
So my next part right here actually is so Solís wasn't the originator of this style of blood ritual. It was a well-known practice of the Aztecs. It was believed that the Inca goddess was to perform the ritual, drink from the cup, and then pass it around. And the people who drank from the same cup as the goddess would obtain magical powers.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. I mean, when did they figure out that they weren't getting magical powers either? Maybe they're like, hey, you got to take at least 100 sips from 100 rituals. Like,
Yeah, it's probably it just keeps building and
I'm
building until you get to
stronger.
notice it. But when you're that crazy and you're talking to someone who you think is a god, you could probably
you probably think
thought,
you're stronger after
Yeah.
drinking it. You're like not like magical powers. Like I could shoot lightning out of my hands, but you
Exactly,
definitely think
yeah.
you're like becoming a god yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So Solís claimed to have been the reincarnation of the goddess Cotilcu. I know I butchered that one too. And it was said that for that goddess to drink blood, they would remain forever young.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Similar to vampire thing we got going on here.
exactly. So a lot of people connect her and call her like a vampire and stuff like that.
Was she pretty?
Was
she pretty?
I don't think so. I mean,
No.
I've seen pictures of her.
She was young,
She's not
though.
my type, but yeah.
But she was young. So
I think
maybe
she
she stayed young.
She was younger, I think.
I mean, it didn't really matter. The cult probably didn't last long enough for somebody to get old in that amount of time. So
Yes. So the murders
can't vet it.
The murders went on for a total of 6 weeks. So this
Okay.
all happened within a 6-week
Wow,
span.
very short.
And this again was in 1963. And
Prime cult years,
yeah.
70s, 60s. Yeah.
So by the end of the last ritual, they were vivisecting hearts.
What's vivisecting?
So that means to remove an organ while the person or living thing is still alive.
Fuck.
So they were
me.
ripping hearts out of people that were still alive.
That's an Aztec thing right there.
Yes.
From the research I've done into Aztecs, it's wow, that's rough right there.
Yeah. And so in May 1963, a 14-year-old local boy wandered near the caves and witnessed a ritual. The kid noticed lights and noises from the caves and decided to inspect what was going on. So after seeing someone's heart getting ripped out of their screaming body, the kid ran 25 kilometers to the closest police station to report it, saying that he saw vampires eating people. That's why he said that he saw a vampire. Because I can only assume that everybody's mouths were covered in blood and they were like ripping a guy apart.
That must have been the most frightening thing to stumble upon ever. I mean,
Yeah.
So there are they still ripping out members' hearts, or
Yeah.
are they just finding random? Okay,
Yeah.
And do you know if these people are willing sacrifices? Because I know in the Aztec culture, it was like an honor. Like sometimes they got people who they defeated in battle, but I think for the most part, it was like an honor to sacrifice yourself for the gods.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm guessing these people probably went willingly, right?
Maybe one or two did. I'm not entirely sure
Yeah,
on
it's probably
that.
a mixed bag.
I'll get into it later why there's not a ton of super in-depth information.
Mm-hmm.
But so the next morning, an investigator named Luis Martinez went to the cave with the child.
Oh yeah, bring the kid back there.
Well, the kid had to show him where it was,
I guess you're right.
and they were never seen alive again.
No fucking way.
Yep.
It was just them.
Yeah.
Who doesn't bring backup? I mean, it was the '60s, but still, like,
I mean, a 14-year-old kid's like, there's vampires up there. They're like, send like the new
they're
guy
like,
with them.
send
Yeah.
the shittiest cop we have.
Yeah.
Just to like help this kid, and you're so scared. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So once the investigations officer went missing and the boy, the cult was put on like top priority for the area, and the police went looking for them in full force. The Solís siblings were arrested actually in the town at a farm when they found them with a large quantity of the sticky sweet devil's lettuce. They smoked a lot of ganja in the caves and peyote.
I bet. Peyote, yeah.
Yeah, and so catching them with the marijuana was enough to arrest them.
I mean,
at the
you know,
time.
you know what they say, that marijuana is a gateway drug to ripping out hearts and eating them.
Oh, I've seen it happen before. I saw someone inject marijuana once, and he ripped out his own heart.
Yeah, my cousin, heart ripper now.
Yeah? Injecting the marijuanas a lot?
Moved to Mexico, lives in a cave. All off one joint.
Wow.
He smoked one joint, never smoked again. He's been ripping hearts ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay off drugs. So then Santos Hernandez, one of the two brothers, was shot by police while resisting arrest. And the article I was reading, I felt this was really strange that it just kind of added this at the end. It didn't say like when it happened, but the other brother, Keanto, was actually assassinated by one of the other cult members in an attempt to take his place next to the high priestess.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, but like I thought it was funny that it didn't tell me like when that happened. It was just kind of like, oh, by the way, that happened at one point. It's like, was that like a week in, 2 weeks in? Like, where was that in that 6-week period?
I could see them alluding to that, or like maybe like one of the cult members is like, oh yeah, like Santo got killed.
Yeah.
From a cult member, and like when he's like, I don't, I was high on peyote the whole time,
Yeah.
man. I don't know.
So many of the cult members were shot in the shootout with the police after barricading themselves in the caves. So when the police went up there to try to,
So they found the cave,
yeah,
showed up, and I'm surprised the cult members had guns, honestly.
I mean, what cult doesn't have guns?
I guess you're right. You got to stock up a little bit, right?
Yeah. So I believe that there were 12 members who survived. I never got a number on how many there were originally, but 12 of them survived, and they were all sentenced to 30 years in prison for 6 counts of murder in the form of group or gang murder. And it wasn't until like many, many years after this whole thing that they started to talk about it, because they wouldn't testify about anything.
Oh yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's probably like the most shameful thing you could do is be a part of a cult where you murdered people. Well,
No, it wasn't just that. So when the Solís siblings were both sentenced to 50 years in prison for the murder of the child and the investigator Martinez, but they were never able to connect them to the other 6 mutilated bodies found, and because the cult members were refusing to make any test, like any comment.
Get stitches.
Exactly, because I think they still really believed in it. I think it was just so many years after they finally were like, oh, okay, maybe she wasn't a god. This is kind of what happened. But
so the brother and the sister got 50 years
Yes.
just for the murder of the boy and the cop.
Yes, that's the only one that they could charge him with.
The twins were dead.
Yes.
They're both dead at this point.
I don't know. I don't think they're twins. I think they're just brothers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm picturing the twins from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You know, the ones with the big pointy boots?
Yes.
That's what I'm picturing.
Yes.
Okay, so the brothers are dead at this point.
Yeah.
And
so,
there's 12 cult members alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with the leaders either dead or captured, when the police explored the caves, they would find 8 mutilated bodies. So it's not for certain if they killed more than 8, but that's just how many bodies they found, and like no one ever said anything. So there could have been a lot more murders or sacrifices, I guess. And that 8 would have included the child and the police officer.
Oh yeah, I bet. I mean, they probably had like 8 of their own members in there, and then there was like, oh, these are outside members, so maybe we should like hide them better, or eat all of them or something.
Yeah. So Solís is still alive at the ripe age of 88.
In prison?
So this is where I'm getting really upset, is that she was locked up in 1963 for 50 years. Mm-hmm. So that means she got out in 2013. Mm-hmm. But I can't find any information about if she was released, if she's like still in prison, because they can still, hell, she could have even gotten out earlier. Because people can get stuff reduced. I really doubt that she did, but it's a possibility.
I don't know the Mexican prison system, right?
I don't either, and it's to the point that I couldn't even figure out what fucking prison she was in. I couldn't even find the name of the prison, so I couldn't even look up anything about it. I Googled her name. I found this really weird website where it was like talking about her, and there's like a little section. It's like, is she hot or not? Like, I
asked that
can't
too.
I can't.
That was
tell
my
you,
website.
I can't tell you how many links I clicked on trying to figure out where the fuck she is. I cannot find anything about her today. All I know is that she hasn't been reported dead, and she would be 88 if she was alive.
Maybe it's possible that. Sorry, Dion. It's possible that she got put into like witness relocation or something, like witness protection, because she's not technically a witness, but
I didn't think about that.
It's kind of the same thing with the Manson murders, with like the women who did it, like Squeaky Fromm and all them, are just like they really regret it, and they're like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking and all this stuff. So like maybe she was kind of a pawn used who like had power go to her head. Yeah, she definitely did kill people still. Yes. Like there's no doubt about that. But
and
it's
drank
like,
their blood.
But I think the question is like, when does the victim become the aggressor in a system where they were forced into almost becoming the aggressor? You know what I mean? Like if somebody gets kidnapped by a serial killer and then they start helping the serial killer and they get like in this weird trance, like they were kind of forced into it in the first place. They didn't want to do it. So it's such an interesting question of like how many years somebody should get for that.
I think you bring up an excellent point that makes total sense. If there's a good chance that maybe she is in some sort of like hiding or like witness protection kind of thing, that actually makes more sense than anything else that I can think of.
Especially if they killed members of somebody's family and they want to get back at her now.
Oh yeah, and big time.
Mexico, from what I've seen with some of the cartels, it's a little lawless. So you can definitely hire a hitman down there to go find this woman if you wanted to, and like
for an entree and a Coke.
For a what?
For a small meal, for a meal and a drink, you can probably hire an assassin down there.
An entree of Coke.
An entree and a Coke.
Oh, are they just like selling people like a? Yeah, I'll have a pile of Coke with. Can I get fries with that? Can I get some fries with that?
I should say Coca-Cola.
An entree of Coke. But so it's pretty scary to think that, one, she's out there. I'm guessing she's rehabilitated to a certain extent if she is out and not dead in prison.
I mean, she's 88. Who knows what shape she's in?
I mean,
50 years in prison can probably do a lot to you mentally.
Oh yeah, I bet it changes people.
Yeah.
I mean, she
wasn't in the greatest shape when she got there.
God. I just love to know her mindset going into prison, if she was like immediately regretful of everything when she got caught, because then that gives me like a good chance that she's probably not like evil anymore or whatever.
Yeah, like how quick it snapped back to her. They'd like, wait a second.
But if you go into prison like being that God complex still, that could, sitting in a cell festering on the fact that you're a god, can really make you more angry too. So it would be
go either way.
Interesting psychological experiment to see.
Yeah. But so that's my story.
Wow.
If anybody has any info where she is now, if I just missed something, let me know, I guess. But yeah,
Is the brother still out there?
I didn't see anything about it. Who cares about him?
Yeah, fucker. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just kind of helping people rip out the hearts, I guess.
Yeah. He was just there for the ride.
Yeah. Jeez, it's crazy. It's nuts what some people do and what they do in their life, and then you heard about that guy that cut off the guy's head on the Greyhound bus and like started like eating him and stuff like that, and they let him out of prison like 20 years later.
I did not hear about that.
And he went to a mental institution, and I mean, maybe we'll talk about that another time.
No, that sounds like a good topic. Don't give away too much of it.
Yeah, I mean, so
did he do the exact same thing once he got out?
No, he was just like, I wasn't taking medication, and
he's a manager at Arby's now.
I had like. He's a business headhunter.
Yeah.
Like,
good one.
But so it's just crazy to see like how some people can be rehabilitated, and like, do we forgive them if they have a mental illness? I know that person who got their head cut off probably wouldn't, but it's like, where do we give the second chances and where do we not? So
no, for sure.
I think that concludes
episode
our
seventh.
Seventh episode.
Big lucky number 7.
Yeah. So that was we got some ships stuck. We got some heads gone.
Hearts ripped off. No, there's no beheading in there.
Oh, I'm thinking of, sorry.
You're getting all mixed up with your disembodiments.
Man, I'm just like, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. Hey-o. Don't eat your heart out.
Oh, I don't got anything else. Let's end there.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe.
Well,
Please,
I mean, our Instagram.
hope you
Go
like-
follow
yeah.
our Instagram.
We hope you like this, but please subscribe to this if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Please subscribe to this or follow it. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can rate and review. We really, really, really do appreciate when you guys do that because I think everybody says it. They're like, oh, it helps us get noticed by Apple and they can promote our stuff more. So, I mean...
I print all of the reviews out and I keep them in my wallet with me everywhere I go.
Exactly. So if you have something nice to say, leave a review. If you have something mean to say, keep it to yourself. That's all
Or you can just send it to us privately.
Yeah, don't put that on. Just send I really don't like you guys, and we'll have a good combo with you about it.
Because we hate ourselves too.
Yeah, I think we become really good friends actually. But like we said, please do that if you didn't already. We really, really appreciate it. Check out our Instagram because we post all the pictures. I have some really good mummy pictures for this episode of the frozen bodies inside those graves on that island.
Yeah, and we can post a picture of Maggie, and you can
hot or not
her for us.
Oh man,
give us a scale with the fire emoji.
Good old Mark Zuckerberg, in the social network.
Yeah.
What barnyard animal does she look like?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I forgot that movie already.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah. So check us out there. Check out our website campstrange.com. This has been a Low Upside Podcast Network production. Go to lowupside.com. Check out some of their fun articles and other podcasts. We got some other good podcasts on there. Chris and Craig Show. We got Monopod by Sam Skolnick. We got some other good stuff on there.
We should do a sexy calendar with those guys and sell it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would buy that. Also, we have to be sexy. So that's a problem. But yeah, so it's October coming up, and we're excited. We got some more spooky tales coming for you.
I'm going to try to keep it real spooky this month.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get a little bit spookier. I've been doing a lot of historical stuff, but I want to get into some ghost stuff next episode.
We want to scare you. Yeah. We want to scare the headphones right off you.
But anyway, I think that concludes it.
Yep.
And I guess, as always, remember to stay strange.